Good morning. This is Maria Quattrone, and it is my pleasure this morning to bring you Jon Cheplak. Jon is a friend. He has been my coach for the last, several years. I think it's almost 4 years going on around that.
Yeah.
Jon is an amazing human, and he has the privilege to lead and coach not million, $1 billion teams and their leaders. Lots of them who I call my friends. So, Jon, today, welcome, Jon.
Well, thank you, Maria. It's a privilege to be here with you.
Awesome. So, Jon's going to talk to us today about some impactful strategies that we can use in today's shifting real estate market. We wanted to stream him live with you so we can take action, because that's what we are, action takers. So I'm gonna pop out and I'm gonna give it all to Jon.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. And welcome, everyone, whether you are watching this live or you're watching it, the recording later. And you know what's very interesting, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to some foundational pieces as I look at, my years as a real estate agent since, well, let's just put it this way, 34 years ago when I first started door knocking, cold calling, expired and FISBOs. That's how I got a lead. And then I had that nice little 3x5 plastic box, with 3x5 cards in it. That was my follow-up boss. And then I had a single column dot matrix printer that every 2 weeks I would send out my postcards and I would just do that work. How things have changed, but have they really? And I'll come back to that here in a minute. A couple foundational pieces that I want to share with you right now. And we hear it a lot, and I'll hear all the time too is, oh, Cheplak, it's always mindset. It's always mindset. I don't need more mindset. And well, what's very, very interesting, if you look at the high performers like Maria herself personally, year in and year out, if you look at her peers who she's mentioned, who I am very fortunate to work with, it is mindset. And so a couple things I want to leave you with to really carry back as you look at every single day and you look at the current space and time you're in, think about this and remind yourself of this. You're not in a good market or a bad market. You're not in a buyer's market or a seller's market. You're not in an interest rate market or an inventory market. What you are in is a real estate market. It's really that simple. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Someone's going to buy a home today and someone's going to list a home today. And the most critical thing for you is to be that person that is taking the next right action step right. Let me say that again. Taking the next right action step right. Let's go back over the last 3 years. With all due respect, you can't deny that agents worked really, really hard, probably a little bit of overwhelm, but we could skip a step in the process. We could probably get away with being a little bit sloppy in our language patterns. That's not going to fly in this marketplace whatsoever. It won't. Inconsistency will not fly in this marketplace that we are in. Period. Not using multiple modes of communication. Maybe you're someone that, and it's shocking to me, yet I understand because I talk to people every single day. If you're someone to this day who has still resisted video, you're going to have a problem. You just really, really are. And, I'm going to my cell phone right now because, it's easy to just talk at you and say, this is what you need to do. But I want to share with you from real life experience. This is really, really simple. It's just not easy. But again, let's come back to our foundation. Also, we are not in a recession economy. We are not in an interest rate economy. We are in an action economy. Let me say it again. We are in an action economy. One of the interesting things that I've come to discover is many of my top clients came into the real estate business 08, 09, and 2010. So if you're a leader and you're bringing on agents, certainly you can only facilitate a condition for an agent to choose to take maybe the different or more action than they are currently taking. But the nice thing is, for if someone's brand new in the business and you're watching this, or you're looking at, oh, do I bring on new agents? Here's the benefit of someone new. They don't know any better, but let me just share something with you, because this really, what I'm going to take you through, here it is in real life of what's happening. So imagine this for a moment. Imagine closing 100 million personally as a buyer's agent on a team. And so, the first question might be, well, how did he do it? How does he do it? And I think the most important thing is to look at the simple framework. I'm not going to share anything. And if there's anything that sticks out the most to you from your time with me right now, live, or watching this later on in the recording, is simple solves the complex. Simple solves the complex. Work works. My consistent average action will always outperform your lack of action. See, you can't get away with, well, I'm going to have a really good Monday, and then, well, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that are average. And then I'm going to have a really good Friday. I'll tell you what, it's not going to fly in this marketplace. And part of it is the consumers trained us, we can get away with that. But let me share with you, this is the simple day. And, when I look at this, and with all due respect to this person, been a great friend of mine, I've had an opportunity to coach him. This is someone doing 100 million. And I'm going to just give you a little breakdown of what their morning looks like. Video power hour is the first work activity this person does. And so actually I should say video power morning. So it's 45 minutes from 8:15 to 9 a.m. Brian Danny is launching videos to his past clients, birthdays, other agents every single day. He sent me a screenshot of his schedule a couple days ago, and it says right here, sacred, do not book over. That's for his assistant to see. And so I want to ask you a question. See, the interest rates, the recession, the noise, the inventory, all these things that may be swirling around in your head, and you're avoiding probably the one factor. Are you sending videos 45 minutes a day? I could end and thank Maria dearly for giving me the opportunity to share with you, and have impacted you greater than anything else you could hear. Let me say it again. Are you sending videos for 45 minutes a day? So that's step one. Step two, he spends 15 minutes a day, okay, looking at MLS data. And in his situation, his organization has a daily huddle. Now watch this. And whether you have a daily huddle or not, whether you're on a team or not, whether you're a broker, owner, or team leader, what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is we're talking about productivity. The mistake that people make when they get a level of success? Well, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do the training. I'm going to give you some framework to dispel that myth of the things you don't think you need to do that you've already done that you think you know. Because let me ask you this, have you mastered it? See, you didn't have to master anything for the last 3 years, okay? Get a phone call, get a lead, open a door, write an offer, get paid, rinse and repeat. A little extreme, but compared to my 34 years of real estate and what I've seen, I've never seen anything like the last 2 to 3 years. And we haven't had to hold this structure. It's all been reaction mode. Well, you better own your schedule every single day, because work works. Simple solves the complex. So he reviews MLS and he does a daily huddle. And then guess what he does? From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pipeline, lead follow-up, nurture, call past clients. 2 hours a day. Well, John, I knew that. Well, then why aren't you doing it every day? I want you to sit for a moment. There are 2 things I've shared with you today. You've probably heard before. goodness, I came here to hear some just magic pill. And I'd share this with you. If you're looking for a magic pill, actually, you're an avoider. What you're doing is you're looking to avoid the work. What Brian said is this, and he says it all the time. He says, I am looking to master boredom. And write that down and look at it every day. The mastery of boredom. Because you know what? It's not sexy. It's not fun to be making lead follow-up calls and going into the database and calling past clients and all that stuff for 2 hours a day. But let me tell you what is fun. The hopes, dreams, and desires that you have in your personal life coming true because of those sacrifices that you will make. That's the simple schedule, you guys, right there. 45 minutes of video that he launches out. Checks out data for 15 minutes, does a daily huddle, role play, skill practice. He's not too cool for it, and he's doing 100 million. And I'm going to give you some other examples of people that aren't too cool for it. So if nothing else, it'll remind you that, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not too cool for school. That's the biggest issue that gets in the way of people. It's called ego. And I'm going to tell you something, in a marketplace like that, you're going to get checked based on your ego, or you're going to thrive based on your humility, vulnerability, transparency. So video, 8:15 to 9 a.m., review MLS data, 9 a.m. to 9:15, daily huddle, 9:15 to 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., lead follow-up. And the rest of the day, he's selling real estate. I mean, how hard is that? See, the work isn't hard. Consistency and commitment is what's hard. And really own that. Take a look at it. Go back. See, what I would challenge you to do, if you could, is go back and look at your last 7 days. Do a time study. Take the 24 times 7, get 168 hours, and I want you to account for every hour. First thing for me, what I'm going to do is go 49 hours are gone because I sleep those hours every single night. Gone. So now I'm down to what? 100 hours. Okay. And then I'm in the gym 1.5 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's 10 hours. Now I'm down to 90 hours. Okay. Then you've got family time and then you've got work time. But the critical piece as you're doing that time study is the choices you make with the time. High impact choices. See, you take a look at 3 things that he's doing that are super, super powerful. Like checking MLS data, you must do it. It's not a revenue producing activity. But I would argue that practicing your scripts and your dialogues and your language patterns and being in that morning huddle, that's pretty damn closest to the dollar activity, because if you don't have those mastered, you're going to lose in this marketplace. And then you take a look at sending out videos and doing follow-up. Guess what, you guys? There's the rocket science. There's the magic pill you've been looking for. Okay. Now, here's the issue. Great. I've heard about consistency. And how do I become consistent, John? How do I get more committed? Well, the easy answer is, go find someone to hold you accountable. Sure, someone can hold you accountable, but they can't make you do anything. Consistency and commitment has to come from within. Motivation has to come from within. And let me tell you real quickly before I give you these foundational pieces, I'll give you strategy and tactic. Listen, you better be talking to 20 people a day minimum. 20 conversations a day in this marketplace at a minimum, at an absolute minimum. And you need to be using multiple channels. You need to be communicating with email, text, social media, video, every single one. Email right now, I have tested email in the last 90 days. Let me tell you something. People are consuming email like never before. You want to know why? Because here's what you need to know in this marketplace. What is the consumer sentiment? What was the consumer sentiment probably 6 months ago? Urgency, 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 urgency. Okay. Consumer sentiment today is fear, pause. People say, okay, when there's fear, what do people do? Fight, flight, freeze. Tell you what, freeze. I hear it across, at the doing this live and listening to the recording of this. Already this morning, I've had 3 coaching calls with large teams from large marketplaces. And there's a lot of freezing going on. How are you going to unthaw the consumer? Well, you've got to unthaw yourself, and you've got to do that by doing the right activities. And here's who you need to be. You need to be the expert. You need to be the information portal. You need to be the news. For example, interest rates, there was a shift yesterday. Did you go on video right away and talk about it and not argue, but it's still a great time to buy? Let me tell you something. Urgency was the consumer sentiment 6 months ago or 90 days ago, depending on your marketplace. That is not the sentiment today. You've got to map to where they're at, right? You've got to lower their fear barrier. You've got to lower their sales skepticism. And the number one way to do that is to educate and inform consistently. Educate and inform consistently. Be that voice of reason. Let people know what is going on. Argue both sides. Argue both sides. Argue why it's a good time maybe to buy. Argue why maybe it's not a good time for you to buy. See, the problem is this sweeping, like every week I watch a new message come out of how can I convince someone to buy or sell? Good for you. That's a lot of work. You know what? Why don't you just come with a consistent message of, I am the authority figure in the marketplace. I am the information portal. I am here in your best interest to serve and support based on your needs so that you can make an informed decision when you're ready. An informed decision when you're ready. See, you didn't have to do that in the last 3 months. You just had to move quick in the last, 3 years. Okay, now's that time. Let me help you with the foundation to do it. Okay, and by the way, what kind of content? You know what? Market updates, interest rate updates, community updates. You know, the two strongest videos that my clients do that spend millions of dollars on marketing, a market update, a consistent market update that done correctly across all channels and emailed. Consistent. Well, I know that, John. Great. So you can show me where you've done one every single month. See, a lot of y'all know a lot of things, but a lot of y'all aren't doing shit. That's the problem. Everyone's a know-it-all and do nothing. Think about it. I prefer trying to learn every damn day and doing everything and not worrying about it, right? Community events. Those two crush it. Let people know what's going on in the community, okay? And then also something that is thought leader based. And let me define what thought leader based is. Something that shares a tip about selling a home, maintaining your home, upgrading your home, the sales process, but not with it. And if you want a free CMA, no, be informational. People know what you do. See, they used to say, and some people do say, the antiquated sales trainers say, it doesn't hurt to ask. I got news for you today. Sometimes it hurts to ask, because if you keep asking and asking and asking, you'll get tuned out. But when you're the person, and stay with me on this, when you're the person that makes deposits into the business relationship equity account, you invoke the law of fair exchange. You invoke the law of reciprocity. See, people don't know it's their job to send you business or to do business with you. And she may say, well, John, I need to tell them to. Well, no, you really don't, when you're the person that is that credible authority voice for that thing that they want to do, or that thing that they want to accomplish, or that thing that they want to buy. Be the authority voice across all channels using this little device right here that can make you, this little device right here can net you $1 million a year. It's really that simple, but we overcomplicate it. Just like people overcomplicate, oh my gosh, how does that guy do 100 million? Well, he follows it. He has a schedule and he follows it every single day. So how do I stay consistent? Well, I want to share with you, and you can go back and do it, because this is, it's a whole workshop to go through this thing, but write these down. You've heard them before, but do you have them? Are they embedded in your DNA? Can they come out of you naturally? And I want to share it with you. Okay. What's your vision? What is your vision? And let me share with you my definition of what vision is. Who or what you're going to be stated in the present tense. Screw the marketplace, screw the interest rates, screw the recession, screw the inventory. Forget about all those things. You've watched remarkable stories take place. Maybe you're a remarkable story. We all are in our own way. But don't let all the things around you be limiting. On December 31st, my business and life looks like this. But now you state it in the present tense. That's the simplicity of vision, in my opinion. We can argue over definitions. Go for it. You're right. But I'm going to tell you something. I look at the people I work with who have built massive businesses. I look at humbly how my business has grown. Simplicity in vision, but being crystal clear with it. Are you crystal clear? Can you clearly articulate what 12/31/2022 is going to look like for you? I sure can. And can you declare it? Can you feel it? Can you smell it? What would it feel like for you? With that said, number one, vision. Now you've got to have a mission. And here's my thing with mission. Mission is something that's in your work that serves the greater good. Oh, the woo-woo part. You better believe it's the woo-woo part, because you want to know what stops people? See, high performers contact me that are at 400, 500, 600 transactions and they're bored. That's what I hear most of all. Jon, make this fun for me. Problem is, I'm not the fun guy. That's what's very interesting. I think, gosh, where did I make you think it was fun? And I'm going to tell you what ultimately shifts people is, okay, let's move away from the transaction and let's move into human beings. You are not in the real estate business. Okay. It's serving. So you may say, well, I'm not a team leader. I'm not a broker owner. Well, you are leading people. You're an individual agent. You're an agent on a team. Okay. What is your mission? What is your mission of the experience that you want to create and have that serves the greater good? Here's my mission statement. It's really, really simple. It's just to give you an example. Serve, lead, inspire people that want to have a positive life experience as a result of the real estate business. Take that framework, use it. Can you tell that that's embedded in me? It needs to be. See, I don't need to do mantras every single morning, and I'm not saying they're bad. I don't need to write down my affirmations every single morning, because it is in me. It is a part of my fabric, and it takes place unconsciously, and it has to take place unconsciously, because if it doesn't take place unconsciously, it's not going to happen, because we act based on our unconscious. Think about all the things that you've already done before, 7:54 a.m. Central Time? So many things you've done unconsciously, you couldn't even walk backwards and tell me how many steps you took to here or there, or how many times you brushed your hair or brushed your teeth, how many strokes, whatever. Those things are unconscious. It needs to be on your unconscious brain constantly and come out like that. Mission, values. Values to me, and again, varying definition. Values to me, to make sure these action steps happen, to make sure that on a daily basis, you are the authority. You are that credibility source. You're the information portal. You are sending your videos out every day, whether it's to people in your database, your sphere of influence, your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, past coworkers, whatever. And you're doing phone call or prospecting for 2 hours. You've got to have, what are the values? What's the experience that I want to have with you? And what's the experience that I want you to have with me? And here are mine. They're really, really simple. Fun, love, dignity, respect, humility, vulnerability, transparency. Stop for a minute. How can you lose? How can you lose if you're striving for fun, love, dignity, respect, humility, vulnerability, transparency every day? I don't care about the market. I don't care who's mad at me. I don't care who says this about me. I don't care about the doom and gloom person. I care, but I don't. Are you with me on that? Because I am committed to my mission, and those values support that mission. Here's the final piece. It's all for naught without principles. And here's what I would do. I would write down this definition of principles. Principles are law. Principles are your guidepost. Principles are, for example, you drive up to a stop sign and typically you probably stop. That principle, that stop sign is a principle, and you act accordingly. You stop. And it's law. I'm going to let go of this pen. Every single time it's going to hit my desk. That's principle. It is constant. I'm going to give you 4 core principles that were passed on to me. I've invented nothing. They've been passed on to me by very generous leaders, and my responsibility is to pass them on to you. Now, here's the piece though. I sought out those leaders. I sought that brilliance. I invested in that. And I'm going to tell you something. There is no more of a critical time to invest in your personal and professional development. And the nice thing is, if you're an individual agent, it's, you know what, you've got a leader. Invest in that time with that leader. Ask for accountability. But here are the 4 core principles. Number 1, personal responsibility. I will tell you this. You can't change what you don't own. So if you want to pick and choose what you own in your life, well, that thing's bad and that's their fault. No problem. You're going to live like a victim. I tell people this, the number one thing when I'm working with someone, if you're not going to own 100% of your outcomes, there is no growth that I can facilitate for you. That's like living life as a bumper car. Number 1, personal responsibility, own your outcomes. Number 2, screw your goals. It's about commitment. Screw your goals. It's about commitment. You know, we like goals because, well, I got close. I tried. Shoot for the moon, aim for the stars, or some BS like that. It's all bullshit. You want to know why we do it? It's avoidance and concern or fear of being judged. See, commitment goes like this. It is specific. It is measurable. It is actionable. It has a deadline. And either you did it or you didn't. Either you did it or you didn't. See, most of y'all's problem right now, it's not the market. It's you're not doing. So personal responsibility, commitment. Well, it's all worthless if you don't have accountability. Why hold myself accountable? Well, let me know how that one works out for you. See, here's the reason that we don't like accountability is because our experience with accountability in the past has been condemnation. We feel like we've been judged. We've been ridiculed. Well, you had poor leadership around you. Okay. Accountability is observing or noticing without judgment. It's you. I'm going to own my outcomes. I'm going to declare commitments. They're going to be specific, measurable, actionable to deadline. And I need someone to measure it. See, you want to get paid like a pro athlete? Well, pro athletes are held accountable in public because they get paid based on their performance and winning in a game. And there's out there in public, and there's a scoreboard, and there's a deadline. And winning or losing measures whether they're committed or not. Well, no, the team was better. No, that's what a victim says. Okay. Someone who lives in personal responsibility looks at all the things they could have done better. Sure, you celebrate the things you did right, but you look at the areas you're going to improve. And the only way you can do that is with accountability, because without accountability, you can't take a look at self and recognize where we need to improve. And here's the final one, number 4. It's contribution. Remember this. You've got great personal relationships, or maybe it's your fitness that's great, your business is great, all the things that are great in your life. The only way you can keep it over time is to give it away to other people. Period. Contribution is the most critical principle. So my hope is you take those 4 core principles, steal them: personal responsibility, commitment, accountability, contribution. And I hope you take those 4 core principles and look back at the simple day framework that I gave you. Wake up in the morning and send videos out. Educate, inform. I shared with you the type of videos to send out. Market updates, community events, be a thought leader, be across all social media platforms. Show up every day in skill practice constantly. And I promise you, if you keep those 4 core principles in place, the greatest challenge your competition has is being consistent. The greatest challenge your competition has being consistent. The greatest challenge your competition has, and maybe you have this challenge right now, is you've been trained to do real estate a certain way the last 3 years. I got news for you. I'll leave it like this. If I knocked 100 doors a day and cold called 100 people a day, if interest rates went to 20%, would I still make a lot of money? I promise you I would. Appreciate y'all. Maria, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Jon, thank you so much for being with us today. Amazing information that anybody, whether you're doing 5 million a year or 100 million a year, could take and put into practice. So 4 core principles: personal responsibility, commitment, accountability, contribution. Work, simple solves the complex. And there you have it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Have
Peace out.
Bye.